Okay, Knuckles, episode 5, review, and action. Okay, I know this frame isn't from episode 5, it was from the previous episode, but look at this stupid Knuckles dad puppet. I love it! So episode 5 is a lot less unhinged than the previous episode, and I think it's really solid. And I also think it's really sad, or at least as sad as it can get in a show about a goofy cop and a red echidna. So in this episode, Wade, Knuckles, and the whole Whipple family go to Reno, Nevada for the bowling tournament. It's not long before Wade sees his father, the famous Pistol Pete, and he gets really nervous. But in classic wingman style, Knuckles helps him by communicating to him via AirPods, giving him directions on what to say and how to appear confident. Unfortunately, this results in Wade speaking in a really unnatural way, like over-dramatically. But it's really adorable how much Knuckles is hyping Wade up, making him out to be a really wonderful guy and trying to show Pistol Pete that he was so wrong to leave him. Knuckles gets at least 50 more Chad points for this. Wade does speak with his own words eventually though and seems to win his dad over, and his dad seems to, somewhat awkwardly but genuinely, want to see him after the tournament. Or I guess during the intermission, I mean. So you remember when Agent Willoughby was telling Agent Mason that they were as good as dead if they didn't bring Knuckles to the buyer? That's right, I finally learned their names. I think that was all of 2 episodes ago, and we haven't seen them since, so now we finally see them again. And I guess escaping or bringing Knuckles to the buyer didn't work at all because they're just dragged to the buyer with sacks on their heads. It definitely looks like he's gonna kill them, but he does share a little bit of backstory first. Not for very long though, he doesn't seem to be a very stupid guy. He's, like, to the point. He basically makes them give him any good reason why he shouldn't kill them, and Agent Willoughby steps up. This is where we get her whole backstory as a gun agent, and I honestly think it would have worked better if we got to see what she was talking about. I'm gonna be honest, it really is hard to care about these 2 agents. They're not, like, bad, like, they're not completely unenjoyable characters, but I don't think they're very interesting. I think the best thing that can be said about them is it does seem the actors are really enjoying the roles. So they can be fun to watch, but they're not complex. I think the buyer has the potential to be interesting, but he's barely in the show. But anyways, Willoughby said she basically got axed from Gunn when she started to ask questions about the safety of letting Sonic and Tails and Knuckles live as, like, normal people when they're so powerful. And that actually is fair because they are super powerful, and so I can see why she thinks they need to be contained or, like, monitored better. No, I'm completely not saying I want them to capture Tails and Knuckles or anything like that. It's a fair question, that's all. Again, it's hard to care that much though, since we can't really see anything she's talking about. We didn't see firsthand what she's going through, so it's kind of like, okay, we just take your word for it. But her anger is clearly displayed on her face and her hatred for these creatures, and she convinces the buyer of her resolve to kill or capture Knuckles. Only this time he's not going to pay them at all, he's just going to not kill them if they succeed. I wish he was in the show more, but I do respect the buyer as a villain. I also super like the green lighting in his hideout, it's freaking cool. But this is where we get to the really sad stuff. So Wade has been talking with his dad, and it seems to be going decently well. Pistol Pete seems to be really ashamed of what he's done and just unable to face his family. But Wade is really accepting and forgiving because he's just missed his dad so much all this time. Pistol Pete still has all the CDs Wade sent him, he just never replied, never wrote back. These scenes seem really genuine, but something just feels off. I'm not sure if it's the music or the fact that this all seems just a little too convenient, even though the interactions do seem genuine. We just, as the audience, get the feeling that Wade might be being duped. Like, this is exactly what Wade wanted, right? Exactly, so it's almost like this is too perfect. But since we're seeing a large majority of this show through Wade's eyes, we want to believe this is real. We want it to be real. We want Pistol Pete to be good. So we're really rooting for this, but our stomachs are slowly sinking as the scene progresses because just something doesn't feel right. Even Wade's mom warns him about Pistol Pete, but Wade is still convinced that his father is a good person because he loves him so much. But of course, the dream is awoken from as soon as Pistol Pete takes him to his penthouse suite where the 2 agents are waiting with his mom and sister at gunpoint. Obviously, they want Wade to deliver Knuckles to them, but to their credit though, I just want to mention that Agent Mason points out to Wade that this is all his father's doing. He didn't resist much, and it was even his idea to kidnap his family. So it's almost like Agent Mason has a little bit of sympathy for Wade and no respect for Pistol Pete, because he's kind of like, hey man, Just so you know, your dad really, really sucks. Now, I don't know for sure if this was intended or not, but I'm reminded of the time when Agent Mason was trying to kill Wade, but then they accidentally have a conversation with Agent Mason's mom, and they both agree that she's a nice person. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to make that connection, but I kinda did. But the next scene is genuinely hard to watch for me as Wade goes to Knuckles and tells him that there's a surprise waiting for him upstairs. And Knuckles is really excited, really happy. He wants to wear his best hat to show Wade's father, and Wade is just on the verge of tears. It's just so painful, and then the episode ends. I think this is a good episode. It has a lot of story beats, and I can feel that we're building up to the climax. So another solid entry, and I do love to see more of Wade's family story playing out, and just his friendship with Knuckles evolving. But Pistol Pete is a dirty bum. I hate him.